So good afternoon, everyone. I am Engineer the chairperson of the Bids and Awards Committee of DPWH Guimaras DEO. So welcome to the previous conference. So today, August 29, 2024, we'll be discussing a single infrastructure project. So before we start, may I request everybody to stand for a prayer. The conference to be ordered. So the conference is being live streamed via YouTube. So before we start, may I request Engineer to do the roll.
And for attendees, we have here our back chairperson, Jamie Jo Montano. Our vice back chairperson, we have Engineer Bernardo Calio. And for the back members, we have Engineer Elegura Zulia, Engineer May Tapiano, Engineer Ron Ortiz, and Ms. Joy Dispar. And for our DWG, we have Engineer Giovanni Servano, Ms. Margie Chavez, Engineer Ivy Solesta, Engineer Adrian Lopez, and Engineer Jonalyn Morsham. And we have a representative from Planning Design Section, Architect Emmanuel Bloma. And DWG member, Engineer Joy Galindo. And we have a BACSEC member, BACSEC Ms. Luminada Indencio, and Ms. Cherry Jean Yesca. We don't have any representative from prospective leaders who attended this afternoon pre-bid conference.
Thank you, ma'am. Since the majority of the back members are present, we hereby declare this pre-bid conference to be informal. So let's start. ID 24G080 with a contract name Construction, Rehabilitation, Improvement of Facilities for Persons with Disabilities, PWD, and Elderly Senior Citizens, including gender-responsive facilities located in Lukmayan Elementary School, Lukmayan, Nueva Valencia, Guimaras, with an approved budget for the contract of 1,033,901 pesos, funded under the regular agency fund, general fund, new general appropriation specific budgets of the national government agency, with a contract duration of 65 calendar days, with a bid document cost of 5,000 pesos. So for the scope of work, we have 6 parts, starting with other general requirements, earthworks, reinforced concrete, finishing and other civil works, plumbing works, and electrical works. So for a major category of works for this contract, we have the buildings construction without piles, low-rise concrete, frame 1 to 5 stories. So shown also here are similar categories of work. So the required DPWH license for this contract are as follows: size range small b, license category CMD, single largest project about 500,000 up to 10 million, and allowable range of contract cost is up to 15 million. For the general conditions of the contract. So the general conditions of contract in this section read in conjunction with the special conditions of contract in section 5 and the other documents listed therein should be complete document expressing all the rights and obligations of the parties. Matters governing performance of the contractor, payments under contract, or matters affecting the risks, rights, and obligations of the parties under the contract are included in the GCC and special conditions of the contract. Any complementary information which may be needed shall be introduced only through the special conditions of the contract. So for the scope of the contract, this contract shall include all such items, although not specifically mentioned, that can be reasonably inferred as being required for its completion, as if such items were expressly mentioned herein. All provisions of RA 9184 and its 2016 revised IRR, including the generic procurement manual and associated issuances, constitute the primary source for the terms and conditions of the contract, and thus applicable in contract implementation. Herein, clauses shall serve as a secondary source for the terms and conditions of the contract. So this is without prejudice to sections 74.1 and 74.2 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184, allowing the GPPB to amend the IRR which shall be applied to all procurement activities, the advertisement, posting, or invitation which were issued after the effectivity of the said amendment. Sectional completion of works. So if the sectional completion is specified in the special conditions of contract, references in the conditions of contract with the works, the completion date, and the intended completion date shall apply to any section of works other than the references to the completion date and the intended completion date for the whole of the works. Possession of site. The procuring entity shall give possession of all or parts of the site to the contractor based on the schedule of delivery indicated in the SCC, which corresponds to the execution of works. If the contractor suffers delay or incurs costs from failure on the part of the procuring entity to give possession in accordance with the terms of this clause, the procuring entity's representative shall give the contractor a contract time extension and certify sum such as fair to cover the costs incurred, which sum shall be paid by the procuring entity. If possession of a portion is not given to the above date, the procuring entity will be deemed to have delayed to the start of relevant activities. The resulting adjustment in contract time to address such delay may be addressed through contract time extension provided under Annex E of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. So for the contractor's obligation, the contractor shall employ the key personnel named in the schedule of key personnel indicating their designation in accordance with ITB Clause 10.3 and specified in the BDS to carry out the supervision of works. The procuring entity will approve any proposed replacement of key personnel if the relevant qualifications and abilities are required to or better than those of personnel listed in the schedule. So for the performance security, within 10 calendar days from the receipt of notice of award from the procuring entity, but in no case later than signing a contract by both parties, the successful bidder shall furnish the performance security in any forms prescribed in Section 39 of the 2016 revised IRR. The contractor, by entering into contract with the procuring entity, acknowledges the right of the procuring entity to institute action pursuant to RA number 3688 against any subcontractor, be they an individual, firm, partnership, corporation, or association supplying the contractor with labor, materials, and/or equipment for the performance of his contract. For site investigation reports, the contractor in preparing the bid shall rely on site investigation reports referred to in the SEC, supplemented by any information by the contractor. So for warranty, in case the contractor fails to undertake the repair works under Section 62.2.2 of the 2016 revised IRR, the procuring entity shall forfeit its performance security, subject its properties to attachment or garnishment proceedings, and all perpetually disqualify it from participating in any public bidding. All payables of the GOP in his favor shall be offset to recover the cost. The warranty against structural defects, failures, except the occasion on force majeure, shall cover the period from the date of issuance of the certificate of acceptance by the procuring entity. Specific duration of the warranty is found in the SEC. For the liability of the contractor, subject to additional provisions, if any, set forth in the SEC, the contractor's liability under this contract shall be provided by the laws of the Republic of the Philippines. If the contractor is a joint venture, all partners in the joint venture shall be jointly and severally liable to the procuring entity. For termination for other causes, contract termination shall be initiated in its case determined to prima facie by the procuring entity that the contractor has engaged before or during implementation of the contract in unlawful deeds and behavior relative to the contract acquisition and implementation, such as, but not limited to, corrupt, fraudulent, collusive, coercive, and obstructing practices as stated in ITB Clause 4. For day work subject to guidelines of variation order in Annex A of 2016 revised IRR of RA 9194, and if applicable as indicated in the SEC, the day work remains in the contractor's bid shall be used for small additional amounts of work only when the procuring entity's representative has given written instruction in advance for additional work to be paid for in that way. The contractor shall submit to the procuring entity's representative for approval the said program of work, showing the general methods, arrangement, order, and timing of all activities in the work. Submission of POW are indicated in the SEC. The contractor shall submit the procuring entity's representative for approval an updated POW at intervals no longer than the period stated in the SEC. If the contractor does not submit an updated POW within the prescribed period, the procuring entity's representative may withhold the amount stated in the SEC from the next payment certificate and continue to withhold this amount until the next payment after the date on which the overdue program of work has been submitted. So the contractor shall permit the government of the Philippines or the procuring entity to inspect the contractor's account and records relating to the performance of the contractor and to have them audited by auditors of the government of the Philippines or the procuring entity as may be required. So the procuring entity shall, upon a written request of the contractor, which shall be submitted as a contract document, make an advance payment to the contractor in an amount not exceeding 15% of the total contract price to be made in lump sum or at least 2 installments according to a schedule specified in the SEC, subject to requirements in Annex E of 2016 revised RRR of RA 9184. The contractor may submit a request for payment for work accomplished. Such requests for payment shall be verified and certified by the procuring entity's representative or project engineer. Except as otherwise stipulated in the SEC, materials and equipment delivered on site but not completely put in place shall not be included for payment. If they're required, the contractor will provide as-built drawings and or operating and maintenance as specified in the SEC. If the contractor does not provide the drawings and manuals with the dates stated above, or they do not receive the procuring entity's special Representative approval. The procuring entity's representative may withhold the amount stated in the STC from payment due to the contractor.
Special conditions of contract. Similar to the BDS, the clauses in the section are intended to assist the procuring entity and providing contract-specific information in relation to corresponding clauses in the GCC found in section 4. The special conditions of contract complement the GCC, specifying contractual requirements linked to the special circumstances of the procuring entity. The procuring entities can create the sector in the works procured. In preparing this Excel, the following aspects should be checked. Information that complements provision of the GCC must be incorporated. Amendments or supplements to provision of the GCC as necessitated by the circumstances of the specific purchase must also be incorporated. However, no special condition which defeats or negates the general intent and purpose of the provision of the GCC should be incorporated herein.
For the specifications and drawings, kindly direct through the uploaded file or plan in the projects. For the bill of quantities, so the objectives of the bill of quantities are to provide sufficient information on the quantities of works to be performed to enable bids to be prepared efficiently and accurately. And when a contract has been entered to provide a price bill of quantities for use in the periodic valuation of works executed. In order to attain these objectives, work should be itemized in the bill of quantities in sufficient detail to distinguish between the different classes of work, or between works of the same nature carried out in different locations or in other circumstances which may give rise to different considerations of cost. Consistent with these requirements, the layout and content of the bill of quantities should be as simple and brief as possible. A day work schedule should be included only if the probability of unforeseen work outside of items included in the bill of quantities is high. To facilitate checking by the entity of the realism of rates quoted by the bidders, the day work schedule should normally comprise the following: a list of various classes of labor, materials, and constructional plan for which basic day work rates or prices are to be inserted by the bidder, together with a statement of the conditions under which the contractor will be paid of work executed on a day work basis. Nominal quantities for each item of day work to be priced by each bidder at day work rate as bid. The rate to be entered by the bidder against each basic day work item should include the contractor's profit, overhead, supervision, and other charges. A general provision for physical contingency quantity overruns may be made by including a provisional sum in the summary bill of quantities. Similarly, a contingency allowance for possible price increases should be provided as a provisional sum in the summary bill of quantities. The inclusion of such provisional sums often facilitates budgetary approval by avoiding the need to request periodic supplementary approvals as the future need arises. Where such provisional sums or contingency allowances are used, the MCC should state the manner in which they will be used and under whose authority, usually the procuring entity's representative. The estimated cost of specialized work to be carried out or of special goods to be supplied by other contractors should be indicated in the relevant part of the bill of quantities as a particular provisional sum with the appropriate brief description. A separate procurement procedure is normally carried out by the procuring entity to select specialized contractors. To provide an element of competition among the bidders in respect of any facilities, amenities, attendance, etc. to be provided by the successful bidder as prime contractor for use and convenience of the specialist contractors, Each related provisional sum should be followed by an item in the bill of quantities inviting the bidder to quote a sum for such amenities, facilities, attendance, etc. A signature box shall be added at the bottom of each page of the bill of quantities where the authorized representative of the bidder shall affix his signature. Failure of the authorized representative to sign each and every page of the bill of quantities shall be a cause for rejection of his bid. These notes for preparing a bill of quantities are intended only as information for the procuring entity or the person drafting the bidding documents. They should not be included in the final documents. So these are the documents comprising the bid. We have the legal and technical documents required. So for the legal documents, we have the field jobs registration, SEC registration or DTA registration, mayor's permit, and tax clearance. For technical documents, statement of ongoing contracts, statement of bidder's single largest completed contracts, PCAB license or special PCAB joint venture license, bid security, and organizational chart. List of contractors' major equipment, list of contractors' minimum materials testing equipment, omnibus sworn statement, income tax return and financial statement, NFCC computation, valid joint venture agreement if applicable. For financial documents requirements, we have the financial bid form, bill of quantities, detailed estimates including summary sheet, quarterly, monthly cash flow, and payment schedule. So all documents shall be printed in A4 format, stamped and bounded. Please attach the bidding documents in your technical component of your bid. So for bids to be submitted electronically or online, the following procedure should be observed. So in compliance with Department Order number 87/2020. So first is submission of the electronic official receipt of purchase of the bidding documents, the confirmation of the electronically submitted official receipt, preparation and submission of an electronic bid, modification of an electronic bid, the non-participation in the bidding, withdrawal of electronic bid, opening of the electronic bid, and the filing convention in case of a joint venture bidder. So the bid opening for this contract shall be on September 10, 2024, which is a Tuesday, 9 a.m. at the second floor bidding room, DPWH Guimaras District Engineering Office, San Miguel, Guimaras. So bids will be open in the presence of the bidders' representatives who choose to attend. So late bids shall not be accepted. Bid submission may be done manually or electronically online. However, bidders should only select one mode of submission, either manual or electronic. Similar to manual submission, the guidelines for the preparation and submission of an electronic bid are contained in the BTS. Bids must be received by the Back Secretariat for manual submission or through email at electronicbids_guimaras@dpwh.gov.ph for electronic submission on or before September 10, 2024, 9 a.m. All bids must be accompanied by bid security in any of the acceptable forms and in amount stated in the ITB Clause 18. So, since there are no prospective bidders who have attended the conference, I hereby adjourn the executive conference.